Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here. In this episode, we're going to be testing out a couple of different types of heating elements that have just come into store at work, and I'm going to give them a go on a couple of my animals. So stick around, I hope you enjoy. What's come into stock at Ecotech, we've got these called deep heat projectors. So these are pretty new to the market type heat projector. I've got a couple of them here, a 50 watt and a 100 watt. So essentially they're not really a light emitting heating element like a light globe or halogen heat globe or anything like that, but they are more like your ceramic heat emitter per se. But essentially these guys are more well renowned for emitting a lot of like deep infrared A and B heat into animals. So the kind of heat that you feel when you go out into the sun and you feel your muscles kind of get all nice and tingly in the warm sunshine, well, that's what this is going to actually get into the deep tissue of the animals themselves. So anyway, I've decided to pick up a couple and test them out. We're going to try these on my Kimberley rock monitor. I'm actually a little bit undecided. I might be doing the Kimberley rock monitor, I might be doing the Gillens, but I might just not muck around with the Gillens too much just because I am trying to breed them this year, so I don't want to mess anything up that may have worked in the past. So we'll try the 50 watt out on the Kimberley rock monitor, and we'll try the 100 watt out on Billy the Frilly. So something I've been told about these projectors is that they actually really only emit heat down into the exact location underneath them. So kind of like a spotlight in a sense. This is what I've been told, so I'm going to test this out. So this kind of means that in particular in summer, if you've got a heat light in an enclosure that doesn't have too much ventilation, the whole enclosure is going to heat up quite a lot. Well, I'm hoping that this kind of reduces that and just lets like a nice basking spot keep a nice high temp, in particular for something like Kimbo, a nice 60 degrees Celsius or thereabouts. And then it can allow like a good temperature gradient going down the end of the enclosure. So they're a pretty unique looking item. You can see the heating element down through here. All of these are the exact same size, but I'm assuming that they've got like more of a coil down through that kind of coil in there itself. And they come with this cool nifty silicone cover as well, so that kind of just stops any chance of animals, or reduces any chance of animals burning themselves on it. This actually can stay on while the light's on too, or the heating element's on. So that kind of just grips around like so. They're a pretty well priced item too. I think at retail most of these were kind of between the $38 to $50 range, depending on the wattage that you go, which when you can kind of compare that to most of your heat emitters, that's kind of on par, maybe even a little bit cheaper to be honest, depending on the brand of heat emitter you're using. But these guys have got a pretty good name for themselves, so I'm pretty impressed to see that they are actually pretty well priced. The other thing that's great about these is they've actually got a 1-year warranty. So if your heating element goes within 1 year, then you can send it off to where you bought it from and claim a warranty on there. So yeah, anyway, without any further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and just kind of get some temps checked on these enclosures that I'm checking out first, just so I can kind of get like a bit of a gauge about where they're sitting. And I'll turn off the light globes that are in there. We'll replace them with these and give them a few days just to kind of see how they really dial in and see the sort of differences that we can kind of tell off the bat with these anyway. So I'm pretty keen to get these going. Alright, so we'll just open up Billy's enclosure here, and his kind of highest point in his basking log, it's pretty cool up there at the moment. Only about 20, 29, 30 degrees at the hottest. I think I've only got a small bulb in there at the moment. It's only a 75 watter. And usually I just try to heat up the area next to his log rather than him getting right under and cooking on it. He spends most of his time on this one anyway. He loves sitting underneath the T5 Reptile 10.0. That's his kind of favourite perch in the whole place. He always loves sitting on that branch regardless. What sort of temp is he running at now? Oh, it's still pretty warm up there, so not too bad. But anyway, what we'll do is we'll turn this one off and kind of give you a bit of a gauge there. But what'll be really interesting is where the Kimbo's sitting. So I know the Kimberley usually has some pretty hot basking spots. Where are we? There we are. So I think I've got a 60 watt heat light in there at the moment. That top spot. There you go. About 64. Now he usually loves sitting underneath that. I actually heard him scurry away down the other end, but for basking purposes, he loves coming out into that particular spot. I think he's down there behind that sort of log. So as far as like an ambient check goes, let's give it a down the cool end. It's about 27, 28 degrees. Probably about pretty similar to where he's hiding at the moment, in behind there. All right, but that basking spot in particular, that's going to be the real hot one. So the hottest point there, yeah, even up to about 65 depending on where you're scanning. Oh, even almost 70. All right, well that gives you a gauge of where these enclosures are sitting anyway. So I'll turn these off, give them a bit to cool down, and then we'll put these other projectors in. So I've got both of the heating elements now on, and as you can see, you can actually see the coil inside of there heating up. So at least you can, whilst it's not producing physical light, you'll be able to tell whether the actual element is on or off. And one thing I can say is, having your hand or part of your body underneath this, you can feel that heat is like a proper strong heat. It's not burning per se, but it feels like what the sun does to you, you know, like that proper tingling in your muscles when you first kind of get some nice sunshine on, you know, after you've been a bit cold or something. That's really quite different to just a normal incandescent or a halogen heat light. And it does feel different to a ceramic heat emitter as well. So that's just those infrared A and B rays, I'd say. That's quite a cool feeling, to be honest. So I reckon this is going to be really good for these reptiles. It'll be interesting to see what heat this gets up to. So that is a 100 watt globe, so that was more than the actual output of the wattage that Billy did have in this enclosure. He's not 100% sure what's going on. Down at the Kimberley rock monitors enclosure, that door's a bit stiff. It's already heating up quite nicely. That's only just been turned on as well. So I'll come back at a later stage and we'll just double check these temperatures and see how it goes and see if we can catch these guys out basking underneath them. So it's been a couple of days now. I'm going to test out these temperatures again on this 50 watt in the Kimberley cage. So we got a nice basking temperature there. Not too hot. Pretty ideal, to be honest. And down the cool side of the cage. Whoa. Try to get the camera to focus. You can see that it's actually dropped down a few degrees down that side of the cage, which is awesome. So it doesn't really overheat the cage as much. So if the animal wants to get down to those sort of lower temperatures, it can. Whereas if you're coming across back up this side, yeah, that's really ideal. Alright, so now we're over into Billy's enclosure. I'm going to measure a couple of temperatures here. So it's getting a little bit warmer in this enclosure. I mean, you do have to take into consideration that that element there is 100 watt, not like the 75 watt globe that I had in there, so that's all part of it. But where he was sitting the other afternoon, it's a little bit cooler. Down this side of the enclosure is quite a fair bit cooler. One thing that I am actually going to do now that I've seen these temperatures from both the globe and the infrared light as well, is I am going to actually add in like a cross brace log for him to come right out on this side and bask underneath it if he does wish to. So it's been another couple of days. I'm really trying to give a bit more of a thorough review on these deep heat projectors. And I have changed up a couple of things inside the Kimberley rock monitor tank. As per usual, he is 100% hiding. There's just about no chance of seeing him this time of night. I have actually moved these kind of false rocks away from where the deep heat projector was, because I was actually finding at times that they was getting not too hot, but it projects so much heat, and I just don't trust the fake rocks with a hot element, and I'd hate to burn any of my collection down because of something like this. So I've just put some real rocks underneath where his basking spot is. And you'll notice that I've also got a thermostat probe here. I've just connected it to a simple on-off thermostat, just to kind of have a bit of saving grace too, because these things seem to pump out way more heat than what the actual heat lights will, for instance. So I was finding even the ambient temperature in this cage was a little bit warmer than what I was thinking that it was potentially going to be. Back over into Billy's tank, and you'll notice that I have put a cross member over in here so he can get right up underneath this deep heat projector should he want to. And I have connected this one to a thermostat, same as the other one, just a simple on-off thermostat, just to make sure that, you know, again, we're not overheating. I don't usually use a lot of thermostats for heat globes in particular, just because I tend to find, you know, the right wattage, and I've just used them for so long that I kind of know that where it's going to sit in sort of any size enclosure. But in this instance, it's just another saving grace. The last thing I want to do is have my beautiful mate here get hurt for any reason. So yeah, this is just a way that he can get over and get a little bit warmer should he want to, especially being the middle of winter. But yeah, it's just a saving grace at the end of the day. We've got a nice warm basking spot there too, about 40 degrees. And down the other side of his enclosures, down around your 26, 27. So nice little bit of variance there. He seems to be loving it. The other day he did seem like he was getting a little bit too warm, so I did turn it off for a bit. But it's good to be able to kind of watch your animals with these things and hook them up to a simple thermostat, you know, even if it is just while you kind of dial in how to use them, or if you need, you know, more ventilation or whatever the go is with the actual light units themselves. It's good to just kind of make sure that you're obviously not going to hurt your animals. So there you go, guys. Just a brief look into these new products that have come out now. I've had a few people tell me online that they're using them and they're really impressed by them. I dare say that I'm going down that same path as well. Yeah, pretty good for the value of money, really, especially when you're looking at things like warranty and that on them. I think that's pretty good that they've got a one year warranty. You know, most of your light globes and stuff, if you're lucky at a pet shop, have a 30-day warranty. Some of them even only end up with like a 2-week warranty. Yeah, you know, like I think it's actually pretty cool that they don't emit a lot of light. So you know, people that want to use them in enclosures for snakes and things like that, and heat up a snake overnight, this could be fantastic for you, because it's, you know, not only giving the animal, you know, kind of like deep tissue infrared, but it's also giving them that heat overnight and not keeping you guys awake. And it can also provide them that night cycle a little bit. So yeah, pretty impressed overall. Give them a go for yourselves. Tell me what you think. Yeah, I'd love to hear what everybody else's opinions are on these. And I know that there's like a few rival brands as well, and I'm interested to see how, you know, how they stack up as well. So yeah, leave a comment down below. Make sure to like the video and give us a subscribe too if you did like this video. Cheers, guys.